The Whispering Cabin Part 2. An original horror story, inspired by American wilderness legends. Narrator. Ethan stood frozen at the bottom of the staircase. The little girl had vanished. For several long seconds. Nothing happened. Then, a soft whisper drifted down from the darkness. "Please, don't make any noise." The voice sounded frightened. Not angry. Not threatening. Just terrified. Ethan tightened his grip on the flashlight. "Hello," he called. No answer. Only silence. He slowly climbed the stairs. Each wooden step groaned beneath his feet. The second floor was much colder than the first. His breath became visible in the air. The hallway stretched farther than it should have. There were 5 old wooden doors. One by one. They slowly creaked open. No one touched them. The flashlight flickered. Once. Twice. Then went completely dark. The only light now came from the full moon, shining through a cracked window. Ethan reached into his backpack for a spare flashlight. Before he could turn it on, he heard footsteps. Very slow footsteps. Walking across the hallway. Tap. 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 They stopped directly behind him. He turned around. Nothing. The hallway was empty. Then, his camera made a strange sound. Beep. The screen switched on by itself. The live view showed Ethan standing alone. But there was something else. Behind him, a woman dressed in black. Her face was hidden by long gray hair. Ethan spun around. No one. He looked back at the camera. The woman was gone. His hands began to shake. He whispered, "This isn't possible." Just then, a child's laughter echoed through the hallway. Not loud. Not cheerful. A slow, broken laugh. Ethan followed the sound to the last room. The door was already open. Inside stood a small wooden bed covered in dust. Old toys lay scattered across the floor. A cracked porcelain doll stared toward the doorway. On the wall, someone had carved the words, "She listens when you speak." Beneath the message, another sentence had been scratched into the wood. "Never answer her." Suddenly, the bedroom door slammed shut. Darkness swallowed the room. Ethan rushed toward the handle. It wouldn't move. Then, a voice whispered directly beside his ear. "Ethan." His blood turned cold. He had never told anyone his name. He backed away slowly. The whisper came again. "I've been waiting for you." His flashlight suddenly turned on. The room was empty. Except, the doll had moved. It was no longer on the floor. It was sitting on the bed. Facing him. Its cracked eyes seemed almost alive. Then, its tiny head slowly tilted. Without anyone touching it, Ethan stumbled backward. The bedroom door suddenly swung open. He ran into the hallway. His footsteps echoed through the cabin. But another set of footsteps echoed behind him, matching his pace. Step for step. He stopped. The footsteps stopped. He ran again. They ran too. Faster. Closer. He reached the staircase. As he looked down, his heart nearly stopped. The front door, the one he had entered through, was gone. Only a solid wooden wall remained. There was no way out. And then, every clock inside the cabin began striking midnight at the exact same moment. Dong. 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 The sound shook the entire house. The walls trembled. The windows rattled. And somewhere deep below the floor, something enormous let out a slow, unnatural breath. Ethan realized with horror. He wasn't trapped inside the cabin. The cabin had trapped him. To be continued in part 3.